What if the problem isn't religion, not technology, not even history, but something much closer, something we carry inside us? It starts with a simple observation. Most of the prophets we hear about come from the same region, the same stretch of land where early civilizations formed, traded, fought, and told stories. And that makes you wonder, is truth really universal? Or just local patterns repeating themselves? Then the question shifts. If truth is real, why does it need messengers at all? A prophet, at its simplest, is just a messenger. Someone who brings news about what is right, what is wrong, what matters. But that raises a deeper tension. If humans have reason, if we have conscience, shouldn't we be able to figure this out ourselves? Maybe we can. But then again, if we could, why haven't we? Because the human mind is not a neutral tool. It bends. It protects itself. It prefers comfort over truth. It tells us stories we want to hear, and sometimes what we want. And what is real don't line up. So maybe prophets weren't there to give us something new. Maybe they were there to interrupt us, to say, "You're drifting, but did it work?" That's where things get uncomfortable. On one hand, yes, religions shaped moral systems. They created rules, boundaries. They slowed down chaos. They told people not to kill, not to steal, not to destroy each other. On the other hand, humans kept doing all of it anyway. Wars didn't stop. Violence didn't disappear. Even the same religions turned against themselves. So what does that mean? Was the system flawed? Or is the user flawed? And then another layer appears. Because it's not just the Middle East. Across the world, in completely different cultures, figures emerged who did something very similar. Not called prophets, but teachers, guides, thinkers. Some pointed upward toward a higher source of truth. Others pointed inward toward awareness, discipline, and inner clarity. And suddenly you see two different models. One says, truth comes from above and must be received. The other says, truth is already within and must be uncovered. But here's the twist. Both seem to agree on one thing. Something is blocking us, because if truth is inside, why don't we see it? And the answer might be painfully simple. Noise. The world is loud, constant input, constant distraction, constant pressure. And inside, there's another kind of noise. Fear, ego, desire. It's like having a compass, but holding a magnet next to it. You still have direction, but it's distorted. So the question becomes sharper. Do we need someone to tell us where north is? Or do we need to remove the magnet? And then the conversation takes a darker turn. Because maybe the issue isn't just confusion. Maybe it's our nature. Look at the animal world. A lion kills an antelope. No guilt, no debate, no philosophy. Just survival. So when humans kill, is it really that different? If this is our nature, can we even call it wrong? That idea feels dangerous, because the moment you accept it fully, everything breaks. Society depends on one fragile agreement, that we don't act on every impulse. Animals don't need that agreement. We do, because unlike animals, we don't just act, we justify. We build stories. We say, this is right, this is necessary, this is for a greater cause. And that changes everything. A lion kills and moves on. A human kills and builds an entire belief system around it. So maybe the difference isn't in the act itself. Maybe it's in the layer we add on top, meaning. And now we arrive at the uncomfortable middle. Humans are not purely animals, but we're not fully something else either. We carry both, the instinct to survive and the ability to choose. Which brings us to today. We've had thousands of years, religion, philosophy, science, technology. And yet, it doesn't feel like we've become dramatically better. Smarter, yes. More powerful, definitely. But better? That's unclear. Because technology doesn't change who we are. It amplifies it. A kind person with power can help more people. A destructive person with power can cause more damage. So the real variable never changed, the human core. And maybe that's the most unsettling idea of all, that after all this time, we're still running the same internal code, just with better tools. So maybe we're not stuck. Maybe we're exactly where our nature allows us to be, not fully evolved, not completely lost. Somewhere in between, capable of building and destroying, often at the same time. And that leaves one final question hanging in the air. If we already have the ability to see the truth, and we keep missing it anyway, is the problem that we don't know, or that we don't really want to know?